Hello and welcome. EP1 here, playing some more games of chess against random Vesti users. This guy, I don't know anything about him. Very sort of newish, probably alt account. Seems to really know his stuff, so I'm a little bit scared. But we'll give it a go. It's all for fun. I'm happy to play, win or lose. It's just nice to get some games with some random Vesti peeps. All right, this is a little scary. I can see he knows what he's doing. If we trade here, this pawn is gone, so I have to be careful what I do. I think I'm supposed to do this. I hope so, because now if he trades, I can trade back, but still keep this pawn protected. So the downside is this bishop is now really trapped. There's no easy way of getting it out, but there's pluses and minuses to everything, and I chose to value this pawn's life quite a bit. So we'll see if we live to regret that or not. So he's probably like, that's not the standard move here. What is he doing? The fool. And looking up what to do. But he's in a great spot now. He's developed his knight and bishop and has put me on the defensive. I would expect him to castle or do something more aggressive. Pushes the pawn up, which is not too exciting. For me, yeah, I mean, I'll probably still do this, even though now this pawn is protected, but I want to start, castling soon. Is there anything else we could do? We could force this exchange to happen, maybe. That's the only thing else that, but, push this pawn up. Let's say he trades. What do I gain out of that? Not much. So let's do this for now. We'll castle, and then we'll deal with this bishop on the loose on this side of the board. In his shoes, I'm not sure what I would do. Probably castle. Could also pin my knight here, soft pin, sort of just push it here, push his bishop here so that I can't move this knight right away without losing my queen. He does castle. I will castle back. I think so far pretty even. Certainly in terms of pieces, we haven't traded anything yet. Pretty funny. Everyone is alive. In terms of position, I think clearly his is better because his bishop isn't going to be trapped. He can easily get it out there, whereas I have to do something special to try to get it loose. So does this, I'm just going to push it out of the way. He can, the standard move would be to fall back, but he could trade. If he trades, I'll take with my queen just so I don't disrupt this pawn line here. But I think more likely is he'll do bishop to, oh, doesn't go back. This is also a great spot for it. It's you kind of want to control the center, and his bishop is in a good spot here, controlling the center. I am I could move my knight here, and then if he trades, I trade, and then he's up one. So that's not a good move. What else can I do? I could move my knight here. But it's nice and aggressive. But what are we hoping to achieve there? Yeah, there's not much to do. Let's do this. Either force the trade or get him to back off a little bit. But really, I need to unlock this bishop, and this actually makes it harder now because it's. But we're going to resolve this situation one way or the other. Really, what I need to do is move this bishop to a better place. And if he backs away, okay, which he kind of does, although in a scarier fashion, now I have this knight protecting this pawn, so I could move this bishop out someplace and move this pawn forward. That's what I can do at this point. Let's do something more aggressive though. Let's just get him out of here. He could move here with his bishop, but then I think I'll trade. And yeah, I like that. Or he could move backwards. I kind of I need to do something a little bit aggressive to try to buy some time to unlock this bishop. All right, does go here, and I did say that I would trade. Let's do a final check. Where am I going to put this knight? I guess I could just move it here. So I think that's fine. I think it's okay to trade. All right, cool. Do the same thing and sort of pin my knight in place, but then I'll probably just push this pawn up and then go ahead and he'll need to do something to protect this. Could be as easy as pushing this pawn, the c2 to c4, but right now this is vulnerable. So, and yeah, hopefully soon we can move the bishop here, for instance, and we'll unlock its potential that way. All right, he does do. He gets his knight into the action, which is a pretty good move. I will then move my bishop here, both to free it from its isolation here, but also to add another piece attacking this annoying pawn. Now he can't move this pawn forward, so he might do this move again to uh, sort of nullify my knight's attack on this pawn. But again, if he does that, we have a pretty relatively straightforward counter coming up. He does not, so basically he's saying go ahead and take it, I think. I take, he takes, I take. Yeah, I think that's fine. All right, so we'll take it. So we are up a pawn, hard won, but not sure what more we'll do from there. I could have considered taking with the knight instead of the pawn. I mean, no, instead of the bishop. Because now if he trades, I trade back. But for me personally, I love my knights a little bit more. I think in chess, especially if you have both bishops, they're worth a little bit more than 3 pieces, maybe 3.5 pieces. But I always find fun ways to utilize my knights, so I have a little bit of a preference for them, even though it's not technically correct to do so. If we were, if I was a better player, it might make a difference, but at my level of casualness, I don't think it matters. All right, interesting. Didn't expect that. So what do I do here? I could just take this pawn, and then he's free to take back with his bishop or his queen. I could push my pawn forward, which puts a little pressure on this knight, and it's kind of being protected by this bishop, at least for the moment. Wait a second. Yeah, that's right. That's right. This bishop is being protected by the knight right now, so that's fine. Yeah, I think, or we could even just trade right now and just take this knight. But again, he brings his queen. I mean, I don't really see much value in that. So let's do this. Um, he could just trade. I trade back. This knight is still under attack, so you can move it here. No, he can't. You can move it here. That's fine. If he does that, oh, well, he could just move it back here, actually, which is really, that's not good for me, because then he has 2 pieces attacking this. He does not, though. That's curious. Well, that's good. So he had moved back, then I think I would have lost this pawn, and our little advantage would have been gone. I could do this and just kill it. No real reason to do it, but then he'll take back, and or we could just leave it alone for the moment and maybe move my knight here. No, I can't do that because then this bishop dies. Okay, okay. Uh, yeah, not really too sure what the point of this move was, other than to invite me to trade, and I don't really see any big advantages or disadvantages from that. I also could just push a pawn forward and see what he'll do about it then. Maybe that's what I'll do instead. Yeah, just move this pawn up. Where else can he go that's scary? He could go here. That's not ideal, but I think that's fine. I don't immediately see any problem with that. If he goes here, then we take, and then he takes my bishop, and it's an even trade, so it's not too bad. Again, I think for most players, keeping both bishops is a premium, especially when the opponent doesn't have both bishops. But I don't. For me personally, I don't value that much. So I think if he doesn't go here, he can always go here, and that's fine too. What would I do in that situation? I could chase with my bishop, but right now we're trying to keep this pawn alive. This pawn is in a terrible spot, so um, maybe I should just accept that its days are numbered and move on with my life. But we'll see. We'll see. I think I also want to get this knight into the action, but I can't do that right now because it's protecting this bishop. So first step might be to move this bishop, maybe here. This might be a good spot. Um, he could bounce it back, but oh wait, no, I can't move this bishop without. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad he did that because that does simplify things somewhat. The question is, do we take which piece do we take? I could take this, or I could take this. If I take you, his move is to go here, probably. If I take with the pawn, he could do this, but I have a response to that as well. I think let's do this and see what comes of it. He could go here, but yeah, if he goes here, we take with the rook. I think his best move is to trade, right? Because I don't really see his knight. Right now his knight is in danger because my knight could take it. He can't go here, can't go here. Can go all the way back here, not here, not here. So either withdraw or take, and withdrawal doesn't seem to be that useful. Taking doesn't seem that important either, to be honest, but yeah, I thought that would be the better move. And for me, the question is, do I take with my bishop or with my queen? And I think with the queen, just let's try to get it more involved now. Now that we're sort of in the middle to, well, probably the middle part of the game. So this is still unresolved. He could take, and then the question for me is, do I take with my queen or with my bishop? I think with my queen, so that I could then protect this pawn. Or he could do something else, and I could resolve it. There's no immediate danger or either way. Okay, so he goes here. Interesting. He could do this and cause me some trouble. He would sacrifice his bishop to expose my king, but I think I have enough stuff around to defend. So I will then be the one who takes. Right? Yeah, that's fine. And then you just take back, put some pressure on me. That's okay. That's fine. I can push this pawn up. If he takes, I take, take. So this is fine, I think. You just go back a step though, and everything is pretty much the same. Tough game, very stressful, but pretty even. We're still technically up a pawn. Check. Okay, that's not a big deal. Rook is protected. Bishop is protected. Pawn is going to be lost. That's annoying. Dang it. If I move my king here, he could just take with his queen, check, and then we trade queens. I can live with that. Alternatively, we could just move here, but I don't like situations where my king is on the same color as his remaining bishop. Anything I'm missing? Yeah, it sucks. This pawn was my only advantage, and now we'll be tied up. But that's okay. I will move here. He can also take with his rook, and then there's no opportunity to trade queens. No check either, but you know, that's fine. Oh, wait a second. I still have this bishop under attack. Interesting. Yeah, I completely failed to consider that. He could do this, trade, 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 and then we kill his bishop, and we still get an advantage. So this is good. And if he comes down with the rook, that was silly of me, because now he has time to evacuate his bishop. So that was a blunder on my part. Wow. Okay, that was unfortunate. Had I not done this, well, no. Regardless of where I put my king, he could have always come down with the with the rook. So it wasn't a blunder, but it's unfortunate that his bishop here will be saved. So what can I do? I could take his rook with my queen, and then he takes back, check, yeah, and then I can't even take this bishop. Not that that's a good move anyway. I can't move the queen here. I can move it here. What would happen then is trade, trade, and then can still disappear. I think this is fine. No, it's not fine, because he can take... Oh, I'm such a fool. He could take this bishop now for free, because the only thing that was protecting it was my queen, and now it's out of the way. But if he does that, then he has to move his. Then he can't. If he does that, then I can trade back and take his bishop. So it's not as dumb a move as I thought it was, but it's not smart either. So we'll see what he does. I would love it if he did this trade where he takes my bishop and then I can take his, because then that creates some dangers here for the king. This pawn right now is being protected by this bishop. He can maintain that protection by just pushing it, say, here, and then that would buy me the turn that I need to move this bishop someplace safe. So yeah, lots of interesting things happening. Probably lots of blunders on my part, maybe some on his. I'm not sure. But right now it's a completely even game in terms of pieces. We each have 6 pawns on the board: a bishop, 2 rooks, a queen, and our king. In terms of position, I think his is better still. My king is sort of here, and all of his pieces are in a central location. He does do the trade, that's fine. So now he'll have to move this. So we are playing without queens, which for me is great because I tend to mess up sometimes with that. All right, what do we do now? So it's usually good to have your rook sort of lined up so you can start causing damage. The problem is this bishop is protecting this pawn, so this doesn't really do too much for us, but I might still do it. Alternatively, we could start putting all of our pieces on the lighter colored squares because he has a bishop that's on the darker color. So like we could move this pawn up, for instance. That might be a good move, but I don't know. I'm not seeing the urgency in that. So let's do this. Sort of giving up the initiative for him, to him rather. And all right, put some pressure on my bishop. Makes sense. I can move here. If he trades, I trade, trade, trade. Yeah, sure. Bloodbath sounds exciting. we're getting low on time too, so I can't pontificate too much. Just got to make some moves that make sense and go from there. Yeah, I don't really see any other decent place for me to go, so that's fine. He's happy to trade. It's smart for him because once this bloodbath is done, he'll get an extra pawn out of me. So I guess that makes sense why he would do this. But it does create this sort of sticky situation for him, though. All right, so he's not going to trade, which is fine by me because that way I get to keep my pawn alive. So I'm fine with not trading. The question then is, how do we keep the pawn alive? And no. Then the way to do that is to create an extra move here because now he has to trade back, and now we have time to protect the pawn. And we do that by putting our rook behind it, or we could push the rook forward. Normally, I mean, I'm not sure which is better in this situation. I want to, if I put my rook right behind it, it's not free to move around the board and cause him trouble. Alternatively, we could put his pawn in danger by like attacking it right now with our rook. He could just shove it forward, but then we can get right behind it. So I think this is fine. You can do this. I'm happy to trade right back, and then we'll see where we go from there. All right, that's fine. We expected that. So these guys are history, and then I just have to play better with my king and rook than he does with his king and rook, and I'm not very good at that. So I'm in a little bit of trouble, but at least right now it's even. We're slightly more time, so we have that going for us. Okay, he doesn't want to trade. It looks like, which is fine. That's his choice. Let's move our king. You can do this. Then I go here, probably. No, that's silly. In fact, all of this is silliness. Because if I go here, he moves down, check. Oh, no, that's fine. And then we can take with our king. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So it's still right now he has a pawn extra, but this pawn is in danger. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Cool. All right, pretty tense. 5 pawns, 1 rook each. Who is going to win this? His are sort of all in nice starting positions. His rook is in a nice central position here. He wants to get behind my stuff, and if I leave my king here, he could take it easily. So we can't let that happen. So the question though is, where do we move it? Where it can do sort of the most help for us, and I think here makes sense, right? Now, if we completely isolate the rook, we could win with just the king and the rook, but he'd have to, he'd have to blunder really hard for us to be able to pull that off. But right now, it's possible. Probably what he'll do is move the rook here so that it's attacking this pawn, and then I could just move it up, but then he'll go and start, going after the next pawn. He could also move here to put pressure here, but I could move my rook to defend, so we'll see. That's a weird one. That's really weird because that's just inviting me to take this. Is there some like nefarious trap that I'm not aware of? I don't. If so, I don't see it. It seems like just a free pawn for me, so we'll take it. Um, what happened? Did he just resign? No, yeah. No, it's not worth resigning over. I would do a take back. Uh, no need to resign. Do you want to? Good tense game. Wow. Let's do a rematch, I guess. Up for another. And I didn't expect him to resign. I mean, it was a silly move. He gave up a pawn for free, but you know that's not a reason to. Maybe he's giving me too much credit that I'm so good that I can take that pawn advantage to the bank. I do think that we were slightly better set up. Okay, he left, so no rematch is happening. Let's review this game though, and I think there's a thing you could do where you have the computer analyze it, which might be pretty useful for us. But I think it takes a little time. So it's going to start the analysis. While it does that, let's just see what we can do here. So game started off pretty normally. None of us traded any pieces for a long time. This was the first trade, and my bishop is now finally free. I'm interested to see the computer analysis though. Just maybe I'll just be patient and wait for that to finish, and then we can see what's going on. It sounds like just looking at these numbers that the game was pretty close. Anytime it's a plus, that means I am the black pieces are ahead. You can see this graph here. So there was some point in the game where we had a good advantage. It looks like. And then I must have messed it up because it went back to even. And then the opponent had a decent advantage of a couple of points. And then it was really even. And then that move apparently sealed the deal when he gave up the pawn for free. So so it looks like it wasn't too. I think the analysis is done. So right now it's saying everything is. Right now it's giving me plus 0.4, which is cool. Oh, we're getting challenged. All right. I will accept it in just a second. Made some inaccuracies. Apparently this was a blunder by who? Not sure. Things were pretty even, although quite a few mistakes, some blunders on each side. And then it's saying that was a blunder by me. I should have put him in check with the rook. That makes sense. And then he makes that mistake. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for watching. I have a match coming up, so we'll put a cut in here. Until next time, EP1 signing off.